The shooting coach, Coach Troy. On this game changer, what we want to do is we want to focus on your capacity to shoot free throws. So how I teach my clients in order to increase their ability to shoot free throws is every time we do a drill segment, which normally runs 1.5 to 2 minutes, they go to the free throw line and they shoot 10 free throws. So for them, the main emphasis is routine, focus, concentration, and shooting. So again, in an hour segment, my students and clients will typically shoot anywhere between 100 and 125 free throws. They'll do that on a consistent basis, and I've had some clients that work with me every week for 5 years. So if you add up that opportunity to shoot free throws, you'll see why they are such prolific free throw shooters at their level. For example, I have many students that I've trained that actually hold records at the high school, the state, or college level. One of my clients that I work with from middle school to college went through this exact level of training and did all the free throw shooting. He was actually second or third in the nation in NCAAs amongst all conferences in free throw shooting percentage. So what's the secret? Well, the secret's very simple. It's repetition, routine, and doing the same thing over and over again and focus on your fundamentals. So what I teach my clients is when it's time to shoot free throws, we want to work so they're winded and tired, but they're going to come through and they're going to work on setting their shooting foot down the middle of the basket. On most baskets, you typically have a nail hole which identifies the center of the basket. So you set your shooting foot, you set your off foot, and then you're going to go through your dribble routine. I don't care how many dribbles you do. For me, I like to do 3. Some people like to do 8, but what we want to do is remain consistent. However, when I work with clients, a lot of times they'll go, after they set their feet, then they'll start doing their dribbles. And if you notice on this, I'm dribbling, but all my focus is on the floor. What we want to do is we want to work on setting our feet, being slightly offset, then getting our head up to the target. Then you do the same number of dribbles, and then right there we want to get a pause. If you notice on my last dribble, when I pick it up, I'm slightly above parallel. What we don't want to do is we don't want to be way down here. We want to get into our shooting pocket, rhythm routine, focus on the target. You're up and in, hold that follow through. You see it go in, then you grab your shot, or who's ever rebounding for you, you go back through that routine. So set your feet, work on your shooting, rhythm, up and through, right in the net. And then what you want to do, especially if you're shooting by yourself, you're going to see that the ball has a little bit of backspin. So sometimes it's going to come directly to you or offset. But a good shooter is typically 100. Take me about 15 minutes to shoot 100 free throws. So what it does for a perimeter shooting is when you're working on this shooting format, working on your fundamentals, you've isolated your shooting position. So you're really working on having a square body, your feet square to the target. You're working on your release and rotation. You're not doing any dribbles left or right. You're not on the move. You're working on stationary, release, rotation, follow through. So it helps you from a shooting standpoint. So here's how this helped me become a better shooter. So in college, when I went my freshman year of college, we did a fundraiser, and that fundraiser is you went and got pledges for 100 free throws. So person would pledge per free throw, let's say 10 cents, and if you hit 80 free throws, then they would have 80 free throws times 10 cents, and then they would give you that money and take it back. So I got my pledges, and then what happened is I shot my free throws. First time I'd ever really shot 100 free throws in a row to see where my average was. So after I did that, I think I shot 72, 73 out of 100. And I thought to myself, that's really not that great. I mean, that's average, but it's not that great. So how do I become better? Well, at that time, I lived in Bloomington, Indiana, and Steve Alford played for IU, and he was a prolific free throw shooter in the nation. And so I studied him, and he had a workout video, and basically what he would do is he'd do 2 to 3 minute drill segments, and then he'd come to the free throw line and he would do the same repetitious form. Do his free throws, pause, rhythm, up and through, and then he would do that over and over and over to develop his free throw shooting. So what happened was, is as I continued to do that, you know, by my senior year, if I shot 100, I would probably hit anywhere between 92 to 98 to 100 out of 100 every time I shot. So what it did is it helped me train my capacity to stay fundamentally sound, work on my release and rotation, and see that ball go in. So how that helps you from a perimeter standpoint is now as we start to work on drills, we're getting back to this same format of squared release, rotation, follow through. So what I want to leave you with is when you're out here and you're working on your game, don't neglect free throws. How many times have you watched a college game and it comes down to the end, and what does a team do? They intentionally foul someone who can't shoot free throws. Why? Because the guy hasn't spent enough time here. It doesn't take that long. For me to shoot 100 free throws by myself takes me about 15 minutes. Partner up, you could cut that time down to 9, 10 minutes, and then what you want to do is just work on repetition, release, and follow through. So again, go through your routine. Every time, take your time, invest quality time, and then see that ball go into the basket. So work on those fundamental elements. Again, when you come through your free throw form, make sure you get up on the balls of your feet, you hold that follow through, see it go in, relax, then get the ball. But shoot 100 of them, then go play basketball. When you're done, shoot another 100. Do that consecutively, and you'll find that your free throw percentage will go up. But you'll also notice that there's a correlation between your capacity to shoot from the perimeter, because the more focus you put on sound fundamentals here, now as you're working at the game and I come here, I'm back into that shooting form. So it'll help translate to your perimeter shooting. So again, work on your free throws. Don't neglect that part of your game. Become a top-level free throw shooter, and then you'll also see opportunities presented for yourself as you're playing in school. So we'll catch you next week on Game Changer.